Hey guys, EpicEpics here, coming at you guys with the weekly replay analysis with XKai here on Skype. XKai, you want to say hello to everybody?
What's up, everybody?
So, as you guys see here, the opposite team, Chris is bad, funny name, had the first pick here, and Gia and friends is us. So let me take you guys through the pick and bans. They first banned the Darkseer, standard. We banned out the Bat Rider because we hate playing against the Bat Rider. Then they banned out the Syllabear. At this moment, we had a few different ideas of what we could have done. So basically, there was the option of letting a Neruvian assassin through, or Nyx assassin, I'm sorry, or letting the Keeper of Light through. I was thinking that they might also first pick the Magnus, but Kai thought that they would probably go for the Keeper of the Light because it was just more versatile, and he was right. So then it came our turn. We picked up the Magnus, obvious choice, very strong hero, and also block picked the Phantom Lancer. Because the Phantom Lancer and Kato, very strong lineup. Also, the player playing with us this time with Eternal Envy, one of his favorite heroes was the Phantom Lancer.
He was just trolling when he said that.
Well, he does play a lot in the tournaments as well,
Fair
right?
enough, yeah.
Yeah. And
It's
then,
just a good hero.
just a really good hero, yeah. And then on the opposite side, they went ahead picked the CK. We thought they might have gone for a Wisp CK combo. They did not do so. They returned with a Lina. Probably looking for that really strong burst, rifting back into a stun and some nukes and instantly taking out somebody in a team fight. Pretty strong combo, as you guys will see. We went ahead with the Gyrocopter just because Gyro is a strong counter to the PL, and Gyro was just an overall very powerful, very popular hero. So we picked him up. Then came the ban phases. They banned out a few very strong supports that worked well with the Phantom Lancer, and we banned out two of the strongest mid as well as the offlane player. So then they returned with the Nature's Prophet. That actually was a very strong pick because they wanted to go a 3-on-3 tri-lane, and the Nature Prophet could TP in anytime, making it 4-on-3. Nature's Prophet also a very strong off laner as well as a very strong solo safe laner. And on our side, we picked up the Leshrac because we needed a strong support, and Leshrac was definitely able to dish out some AoE damage, AoE disable, very good hero. They finished with the puck, and at the end we picked up the Lion. I just let the replay run for the next little while. So Kai, you have anything to add to the pick and ban right now?
Well, at the beginning, their first three picks, when we were drafting this, they gave away their lanes immediately in the first three picks because the Keeper, Lina, and Chaos Knight immediately was gonna be an offensive tri-lane, 90% guaranteed. So this set us up for what we wanted to do was put a Meg mid, and then which is why I banned out the TA and Queen of Pain. So it gave me Meg a more favorable matchup with the Gyro, who I was thinking would be Elmo, would play on the off lane, and he should have an easy time soloing most heroes because they already banned out heroes like the Lone Druid, and I banned out the Weaver. So the Gyro should have an easy win top, and then mid would break even at best, and we would just have to do our best to stay alive in bottom lane. And then they picked the Nature's Prophet, which meant that the 3v3 would be really bad since it's almost basically a 4v3 with his global presence. So right away our tri-lane would have been in trouble, but at least we would have won our other two lanes and hopefully use that advantage to carry the game.
Yeah, sadly, as you guys will see, didn't really work out the way we planned for it. So Kai, if nothing else, let's move on to the laning phase.
Alright.
Guys, as you guys see here, they used a sentry ward to block off our camp, and then used another ward here to give vision of any supports of this lane to be able to come around and gank aggressively. Kai, knowing that they had a ward, dropped the sentry ward to D-ward and then realized that it's in these trees getting fogged. He stunned here once and stunned here. Unable to find this damn ward, dropped the second sentry ward to look for maybe a ward here or here that was blocking this camp, and still failing to do so. This was absolutely devastating because both of the supports at 2 minutes still did not get a single pull. Ends up being denied. Kai has actually 0 experience, and the Lion has, only half of level 1. And the PL here, getting absolutely zoned out by the Lina, by the CK, and the Coddle have no place to farm. And here I have very little experience playing the mid hero, mid gyro, and against the Puck starting damage, especially with a null talisman, is a lot higher than my damage. I believe I have something like 44 damage starting out. Absolutely horrible. And I'm actually getting LCS quite a bit. I'm at 5-2 and Puck is at 2-5. Eternal Envy is 3-0 and CK is 9-5, while the Furion I hear is 8-5 and the Magnus is 5-3. Small cute little play here, slowing down this Furion's TP, failing for him to either go on me or going on Envy on the bottom. Kai, what did you think of our laning phase? I mean, from the first few minutes, it just looked like we're losing from every single side.
Yeah, it looked shaky from our perspective. Especially we were like kind of hesitant on a bunch of things. And then just like not really committing to like 1 or 2 things. And then that kind of screwed it up. Our dynamic usually, because normally it goes a lot better, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pleasure to play with Envy. However, it was one of the first time that we ever played with him, and we didn't really know what to expect. We didn't really know how our lineup should have, like how we should have put together our lineup, what we should have done. As you see here, at 4 minutes, level 1. Absolutely devastating. Prophet TP's out without able to find any sort of, success at this point still. So Kai, you think, what do you think for the viewers, to watch for? What did we do to actually, turn the tides back? What do you suggest for viewers when they find themselves in a situation where all 3 lanes they're losing?
Well, as you can see later, we have, or in our lineup, we have the stronger late game. So as long as we live past like the X time period, then we will win into the late game, so long as we're not so far like disadvantaged that we're like 20k gold down or something crazy like that. Like
Yeah,
when we picked these lineups, the other team knew right away they had like a timer that they have to hit, otherwise they just lose the game.
yeah,
And you'll see later as like
yeah.
the strength of our carries.
Yeah, and we knew something was wrong. We knew a gank was coming. Lion was here in position. However, with the Dream Coil dropped and a far-ranged Illuminate along with a Dragon Salve nuke, or not, yeah, with the Dragon Salve nuke, I died instantly despite the 2 supports being in position. So with that nail in the coffin, I am done. Puck almost double my net worth in terms of last hits. He almost doubled my last hits and he just killed me. He's level 6. I'm not even level 6 yet. So mid was a lost lane. And here Envy obviously bottom with 1 versus 3, unable to find any farm. With the stuns coming in from all these supports, if that proc was a 3-second stun with the Lina stun hitting and the Kato, he could have just died there. It's just everywhere we go, we're getting trashed right now. Let me show you guys one of the first time that we actually have some breathing room that we created for ourselves. So as you guys see here, what Kai mentioned, they needed to put on that early game pressure. So with Furion, they're summoning Trents, trying to pressure down our T1. And here is one of the first time maybe we can fight on even grounds where we have a tower, even though we're disadvantaged. As you see with the last hits, the net worth will show more clearly that even though we're disadvantaged, we're fighting under a tower. So Magnus charges in, Puck sick play, dodges the RP, however catching him with the call down. Envy rotating in with the lance kills them. And here's where they go overly aggressive. Puck and Furion buys back. Puck TP's back. Furion TP's back. Unable to find anything at this moment. He guesses with the blind sprout, misses. However, Puck with the Dream Coil dropped, actually managed to get a pick up. Small victory for them. not worth the buybacks at all. With the Furion buyback, Eternal Enemy's farm is actually catching up to the Furion. So, kind of unfortunate for them, very fortunate for us, gaining that very crucial breathing room. Kai, what do you think happened in that fight? You think that it was the fact that just, we were defending, that we were in a better position to maybe counter with the RP and everything that we had? What do you think?
Yep, as you see in the experience graph, like they were 1,000 above, and with that one swing, it went back to even. And then going into that fight, we were down 4,000 on the gold graph because we lost our laning pretty bad, and we killed pretty much, other than the CK, we killed the other two core heroes, the Furion and the Puck, which was like much needed at the time. Then, because they're desperately trying to push and like accrue their advantage and snowball out of control, while any pickoff we can get will delay their push and buy ourselves more time for our gyro and PA. Now guys, as you can see, their push lineup is in full swing. They have the 4 heroes on the bottom lane pressuring, while they have the Furion at the top defending their tier 1 and ready to TP in at any time. But as you can see, we read their play, and our PL and line were able to insta-give their Furion, while our Leshrac and Magnus clear-cut the creep, so they had no way of pushing in, and their TP support died, thus allowing us to delay their push and prolong the game, giving us more room to farm, and just making the PL pull further and further ahead.
Yeah,
Did you want to add something?
Yeah, for sure. As you guys saw, they have to put the pressure in because right now they have advantage. As soon as the Furion comes back, TP's in, and if you look at the net worth right now, they're ahead. They're definitely ahead. But as you see, what's different from a few minutes ago was that the PL is actually pulling ahead, reaching number 1 in net worth, and they dive down with all the ults, but we still got the RP off, and with the PL here and stuff, and with a buyback from the Leshrac and a buyback from myself, the gyro, we're able to turn this team fight around with the PL staying at the back, picking people off. He's just waiting, and then we lance with the buyback, with the drums popped, easily chase down these supports, and Puck, being the last one standing, is the only one able to get away. So they're on a timer, and not only is that the case, they also are on a running on a clock, like what Kai said earlier. And as long as we're guaranteeing the PL farm, and as you guys see here, PL has 3.9k right now with the drums and the tranquil, we're able to make that mid-game comeback and definitely take the game late game. So, anything else you wanted to say, Kai?
No, that's pretty much it. We just rinse and repeat. Delay if we have the stronger lineup. And then, because it's on them to make things happen, right?
Yeah,
so
like they're running on the clock, yeah.
As long as we're not getting caught or taking unnecessary fights, then even if like the net worth is even, then technically our team is ahead.
Yeah, that's true. And at that point, if you look at the gold difference graph, it actually dips down to 6,000 difference, and then it just starts to come back up towards the Radiant side. And if we look at the experience graph, the Radiant is already up ahead. As you see here, they're slow sieging us, but with the call down, the shockwave, and the different nukes from the Leshrac, we're able to keep them off. And here, they got sick of it, so they started to, commit. They started to charge up. But problem was, under the T3, currently the farm difference, definitely not enough for them to do this. The CK uses his Aegis, pops it off. Here, although all 3 of us are very low, we simply go back and heal up with the PL, as you guys have seen multiple times probably in games, with the Diffusal Blade, with the Phantom Lance. He could easily keep them here without allowing them to back off properly, and right now you see that we actually healed back up, and we start the fight. Right away, picking off the Furion, because they've been slow sieging for so long, they're at a huge disadvantage. CK gets picked off, and the Puck gets picked off. So, in exchange for the T3 tower at 25, 26 minutes, one of their last pushes, they actually lose. They almost wipe, and this feeds the PL huge amounts of net worth. Kai, what do you think? Do you think, what do you think the other team could have done in this situation? Because we do have a very strong defensive lineup as well in terms of clearing creeps, in terms of slowing down push, and they don't have a super strong, powerful pushing lineup such as one with a Syllabear, right? They only have a Furion, a few Trents that they can send up, and some CK images. What do you think?
I think what they should have done maybe is take out all our outer towers, get that big, huge, or maintain that big, huge gold lead, and then place a lot of offensive wards and contain us to our base or limit our farm while they take the rest. Like, they could have farmed our jungle, their jungle, and like tried to keep us contained with like the global presence of the Furion.
I think we've also made mistakes like that before, I believe. When we had the advantage early game and we were in such a big rush to finish, and we end up pushing and wiping ourselves. I think a lot of the more experienced team, such as even like IG versus LGD Int, even though they knew that the 12 slot bear would be a better late game than the Phantom Lancer, who's already capped out, they still slowly siege. They slowly siege with the PL by containing the enemy within their base. And sometimes it's not just say CK versus PL, it's a team versus team situation. So if your team can overall have a huge, bigger gold lead, then that benefits you in ways that you may not see on paper very clearly. But say every single one of the supports had a Ghost Scepter or Force Staff or even Ethereal Blade, blasting each other, saving each other, then that would be the nail in the coffin for us. But as you said, instead them trying to force high ground while the PL just split push with his images, get farmed, and as you see, they don't have a lot of wards. They have 1, 2 here, but all of this is open and all of top is open. So that's actually a lot of space for the PL to still farm up. And that shows within the last hit graph where, when you have a CK pushing, that's limiting his farm because he has nowhere else to farm, despite even with the Keeper of the Light being able to recall, that's still limiting his farm, right?
Exactly.
And, we see here, once again, they're trying to force that high ground instead of doing what Kai said. And here, PL with the huge amounts of farm comes in, sends the images, almost bursting out hero right away. The CK by himself completely, because the supports were zoned out by us, he was completely alone. And here, as you see, the PL with the Manta and the Diffusal level 2, easily able to kill all of the supports. And here, with the level 1 missile, you're able to get vision of the Furion. Furion with the despite not having mana, with the Lion threatening a stun right behind, has no way but to kind of run and kite us. And this, I believe, is where the opponent calls GG, well played, as you see on the bottom there.
Yep, like their CK overextended, like they couldn't clump, but they can't be too far apart. Like you see, we isolated the CK while their 3 supports can't even stand up to 1 PL. So like at the end, they just like they lost pretty much both fronts, and like the CK got picked off by the burst from our Lion and Gyro, and then
like
PL
if you guys see here, the CK throws the stun, tries to make something happen, uses the images to attack. While here, if I slow it down for you guys, if you look at the CK, he was not able to pop the BKB because he didn't want to pop it too early. He gets bursted down by 1, 2, 3, 4 of us, while none of the supports here are strong enough to burst down the PL. PL comes in, throws in a lance, does a Manta, instant DPS boost on these soft supports, 700 HP. One whack from all of these supports, it's an instant kill. So a bit slow on the stun, and then the Puck, I believe, uses the Force Staff on the PL, also a bit slow, and already our supports are here, comes in, follows up with the Hex, comes in, missile chasing this guy, it was over. Yeah, so guys, thanks for watching. Kai, before we sign off this week's replay analysis, do you have anything to add? Maybe item builds a little bit, discuss what they have built on their heroes. I know I see here that the Furion went for the level 1 Necronom after the mech, but he did not have enough farm, as we mentioned, to zone us out and farm up the items. Maybe doing that before pushing would have been more effective. The CK here had the armlet, a very effective skill item for his ultimate skill. For those that don't know, because this takes 100% damage bonus, they deal exactly full damage of the CK, but illusions are only able to benefit from stats gains. So anything that adds to strength gives your image more damage, whereas items such as BKB's plus 24 damage actually do not work on images. So the images itself benefits from things such as stat gain, but it do not benefit from the items in the image inventory. So items that give you plus damage, plus attack speed, you do not benefit. And here, as you see, Luna, very standard support items. The Kato, because of the blast, actually able to farm up some more items, so he has a Ghost Scepter. And the Puck with the Blink Dagger and the Force Staff, very mobile, super far killing range hero. But, despite getting all the right items, again, like what Kai said, maybe just not enough. Maybe if they zoned us out instead of trying to force uphill, that instead of gambling such as that, hoping that one of those times that they will break through, get a Rax, that if they just farmed up a Hex on top of the Puck, if they just farmed up a level 3 Necrocom on the Furion, their pushes could have been more successful. And in terms of our own farm, I did very poorly as the Gyro. I was able to only end with a Black King bar, and while the PL though was 10-0, did excellent work. Had 216 last hits and was able to get that level 2 Diffusal and Manta, as well as the Drum and Tranquils up. And for those of you wondering why he got the level 2 Diffusal, you guys can check out my PL guide. I kind of explain how big of a DPS boost the level 2 Diffusal is, and a lot of the professional players get it when they're in need of a fast DPS boost. And also, our Magnus, being on that one-on-one matchup, was able to get his Blink Dagger and Mana Boots quite fast, making him very effective and always threatening for that RP while he was defending. And Kai, yeah, what do you have to add before we sign off this week's replay analysis?
Yeah, I thought the Manta pickup was pretty smart for the PL, since it allowed him to either dodge CK's stun or get out of those silences and the dust. Which, past that, the other team pretty much had no way of dealing with the PL, unless they landed everything and bursted him down. But if they took the time to do that, then the rest of our team had a lot of AoE behind us to be able to wipe their team if they all clustered and focused down our PL.
That's true. And thinking about dust and detecting invisible things, maybe they should have got a gem and to deal the PL, because even before the Manta, he could self-diffusal to purge off that dust debuff on top of him and then windwalk out. So I think maybe getting a gem beforehand, because sentries was not a way to deal with the PL due to his high mobility speed with the Tranquil Boost and the Doppelwalk. So they either could have gone for a level 3 Necronom faster, maybe have someone else grab the mech, such as the Keeper of the Light, and instead go for a early gem and something like that. What do you think that could have made the difference? Because honestly here, it was just the PL. If they could shut down the PL, if they could put enough early game pressure before the PL gets big, they win the game, right? And usually in professional games, PL has a Kato or somebody to really strong babysitter to make sure that he transitions from the early game to the late game. Here he didn't really have that. He definitely got shut down during the laning phase. He was only rotating around because they didn't properly zone us out inside of our base. What do you think?
Well, I think they waited too long. to go on the PL. Like if they acted a bit earlier before he gets like his diffusal or something.
Yeah, before he even got the defusal, they should have been putting pressure on him, right?
Exactly.
But I guess also they had to pick their poison. It was either the gyro or the PL that they could shut down because we were on opposite ends of the map most of the time.
Right.
And with me, it was a lot easier to gank. With maybe a small ganking crew, the gyro could turn around with huge bursts of damage. But when it's CK and Puck or with Furion TP in, it's huge because both the CK and Puck have such high mobility speed with their items and their just base movement speed, and the Furion's always threatening that global gank. It was hard for me to actually dodge their ganks. So I think picking their poison, they didn't put in enough pressure, and
Right.
ultimately I think they should have maybe drafted something else at the end instead of Puck, maybe a mid hero that had more mid game to late game potential. What do you think about that?
Well, lost my train of thought here, but I think they should have known that they did a decent job at shutting you down in mid, to where like all they had to do was check your items next time you popped up to know
That's
that
true.
you didn't have a lot of farm, and
That's true.
they should have
Instead of
prioritized shutting
yeah,
down the PL,
yeah,
right?
because they were constantly applying pressure to me, even though I was already shut down. Because here you see, I'm not that far off from the Magnus's farm. I only have 98 last hits, and my gold per minute is actually only in the 200s, while their our PLs is well above 500.
Right. So
So I think that made a difference. And I mean, it is always harder to get the PL, so more pressure on the PL should always be necessary, because the PL with the doppelwalk and having the images to farm is just, he can always find farm where, gyro, as long as you're threatening that gank, as long as you have one support missing and the Nature's Prophet, that's enough to keep the gyro off of the creep lanes to CS. Whereas the PL, you may really need to threaten and be near and really punish the PL to make sure that he's not getting his farm. So I hope this week it was a little more comprehensive than last week. Last week we had some technical difficulties while recording. Hope you guys enjoy. Thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. See you guys next week.
peace.